We are recording.
Excellent. The time is now 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. As a preliminary matter, my name is Justin McCullen. I am the TMAC chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Anthony Delgazio.
Here.
Excellent. Rain Hoyland.
Here.
Lieutenant John McGrath.
Here.
Justin McCullen here. Rebecca Tarantino.
Here.
Excellent. Donna Mullen. And I know Suzanne is out, so she is absent. And excellent. And all right. And we have Amy Schaefer, our petitioner.
Yep, here.
Excellent. All right, as a speaker. And I know we're not going to have, oh, and we have Seth Bauer just in time. Look at that, always just swoops right in. Perfect. Please say present, Seth.
Present.
Excellent. We just voted. No, I'm just kidding. Excellent. So we are all here, +1 for quorum. This open meeting of the Traffic Management Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. This meeting is a webinar and will allow public comment. For this meeting, the TMAC is convening by Zoom app and posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials have been provided to the members of this body and are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along the posted agenda until the chair notes otherwise. So in a minute, we're going to be returning to the first item on the agenda, which is the only item on the agenda for this evening. Before we do, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. They'll have about 5 minutes to talk about their petition. We have all seen and read the petition that has come in online. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. And for any response, wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. For items of public comment, I don't see anybody here from the public, but if we are, then after each petition, I will give an opportunity for public comment. The chair will open the item for comments. For those participating by computer, you can use the raise hand icon to gather attention. It'll bring the option to select the raised hand. For those participating by mobile device, click the more button at the bottom right and select raised hand. The chair will call on each of the raised hands in the orders received. Please identify yourself by name and address, and you'll be afforded up to 3 minutes for any public comment on each petition. Finally, each vote in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So it's a little bit different, a little bit more kind of arduous, but we have to do this in a recorded environment. So with that being said, we've done the roll call, item number 1. Item number 2 is to approve the minutes from December meeting. So I will abstain from that since I was actually not present, but has everyone read the minutes? Oh.
Yes, I was going to make a motion to approve them.
Okay. We have a motion.
I will second.
And Seth will second. All right. We have a motion. Daphne, can you do the roll call? I think you're on mute.
Mr. Delgazio?
Aye.
Mr. Hoyland,
Aye.
Lieutenant McGrath,
Aye.
Mr. McCullen,
I will abstain.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Tarantino.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you. So the motion passes. The minutes are the record. Thank you. All right. As the next item on the agenda, I know we don't have Bob, our technical advisor, here tonight, but he did send out the updates on the previous meetings. I just wanted to kind of go over some updates just to let the committee know. If you have any questions, we can certainly formulate them to if any of the members of the town can fill in, or we can push those off till next week or next month to talk. But about the December 20th Rivard Road pedestrian safety vehicle speed issue follow-up. The request was a children playing sign on Rivard at Great Plain Avenue. Basically the discussion was revolved around DPW Highway Division asked to install a caution children sign opposite 10 Rivard Road. The DPW Highway Division was notified to install the warning sign on December 10th. So that item is still open, but that's the update. Is the that work order has been sent already. For November, the DPW Highway, this was regarding Oak Street. I know the sign, the no turn on red from Oak to onto Chestnut Street, that has been removed. I know the select board has approved the signaling change. I don't believe the signaling change has been implemented, but that's in the process of being done. Is that correct? Tony or Rain, can you, do you have any more context on that?
I'll defer to Ryan on that. We did make the request. We made a copy of the permit, which the Highway Division's contractor required before they would make the changes.
Okay. Okay, so meaning it's in the process, right? Correct?
Yeah, we received it last week, the permit signed. It's been given to the vendor. It's scheduled. He didn't give us the schedule, but as he comes in, they'll call us. It's pretty straightforward changeover for them.
Perfect. There was a traffic count that was initiated on January 5th of Jarvis Circle. This is regarding a November petition with regards to Jarvis Circle and the speeding issue through there. The traffic count had gone down. Obviously, that was on the 5th, so we don't have the results for that. So we'll probably have the results for that next by next meeting. There was a stop sign installed. It was an October petition. This was Bradford Street at Dedham Ave, pedestrian safety. There was a stop sign that was installed on the 15th of December. And I think as far as going back, I think there was another stop sign that was installed at Mason at Great Plain Avenue, and that was installed as well on 12/15. And that's as far as all of the updates that were listed in red. Are there any other questions with regards to our previous actions or inactions, et cetera? Anything else from the committee? Okay, excellent. All right. Then is there any other business before we move on to our first petition here? Any other business from the committee? No,
None.
not all. All right, excellent. Not all at once. So Ms. Schaefer, you are up. I'm going to give the mic to you. This is regarding intersection street light, Dedham Ave and South Street.
Great. Okay. So I currently live on Livingston Circle, which is about a block from that intersection of Dedham Ave and South Street. We've been at this address for about 3 years now, although I've lived in Needham for almost 18 years. And it is just astonishing how many accidents we've seen at that intersection. And now I have a young driver as well. So it's even more, that's when it kind of came to my worry, my personal worry. And the issue that we see, and I don't know specifically whether this has been the cause of those accidents or not, but is that if you are going, I guess you're heading out of town on Dedham Ave, and then you hit the South Street intersection. If you went to take a left onto South Street at Dedham Ave there, so again, heading away from town, if there's any cars coming in the opposite direction on Dedham Ave, so they're going to take a left onto South Street going the other way, they have a lane coming in the opposite direction, a dedicated lane to take that left. If you're going left, coming the way I was saying, out of town, there is no dedicated lane. And what happens is it creates a blind spot because the cars going left from the other direction are blocking the view of the driver trying to take that left onto South Street. And any cars coming around that dedicated lane on the other side, you really can't see them, especially if the car is, you know, an SUV or anything else. So what I think, I don't know this, like I said, in terms of the actual accidents themselves and the causes, but what I see a lot is cars that look like they've had a semi sort of head on or kind of almost like a sometimes T-bone type accident. But it's dicey there at that turn. And I think the issue is, I don't know whether, and this is new to me, this whole panel, so thank you for your time, but I don't know whether there's been a traffic study or not. I had actually asked John Bullion, who's a friend of mine, to see if there was anything that had been done. I had seen some people sitting there that said they were doing a traffic study, but I don't know what purpose it was for. And that was maybe a year and a half ago or so. But I don't know whether it can be considered that either a different type of traffic light that either has an arrow. I'm thinking of the light at Chestnut Street and High Rock, how there's a green left arrow at when the light first turns, if someone's there, and it pauses the green for the traffic coming the other way to allow those cars to take a left onto High Rock. Something like that, or look into having a dedicated lane going the other way as well. But it's just, there's also no sidewalks there. And I've seen kids crossing, coming home from Pollard, coming across that intersection as well. And it's just, it's such a blind spot that, and cars are going pretty fast when they're coming down there because they're all just heading into town from getting off of 128, that it's been a dicey spot there.
Sure, thank you. Amy, if just from any of the members have any first impressions with regards to anything for the petition?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I can report that the town manager did make a request for a study at that intersection, which the engineering division did complete. We did take traffic counts and turning movements and the like. We also surveyed the intersection. It was initially believed that it would be a simple matter to just put in a left turn arrow, as the petitioner was suggesting. However, it turns out that it's actually much more complicated than that. In order to put in the left turn arrow, you would in fact have to have a left turn lane, and there isn't enough width to institute that at this time. So at the request of the town manager, we actually added that to our 5-year capital improvement program, that intersection. So it has been added. It's now on the list. I can't recall what year it's in. I know it's not in the upcoming year. I think it is year 3 or year 4 in the program. So it will get addressed. It's just that it can't be simply done.
And is there anything from the short term that can be done? Obviously, I think you just probably said there probably isn't any of this, nothing else simpler that can be, knowing that we have a long-term, solution to kind of re-engineer that intersection. But on the short term, is there anything that the town, could do there?
No, Mr. Chairman, it actually, in order to, it's hard to get into, but the geometry of the intersection does not lend itself to a simple, quick fix. It just simply can't be done. The intersection is going to have to be reconstructed.
I have a quick question about something you said about if there were to be a left arrow, it would be required to have a dedicated left lane. I don't think that's the case at Chestnut and High Rock. Am I correct?
That's correct. Chestnut and High Rock has a different kind of situation. The left turn lane, the left turn arrow, I believe usually comes in on the morning, and then it's either the morning or the afternoon. And then, and the rest of the day, it is deactivated. That road width, you may notice that you can actually see, there's visibility, and cars can actually bypass the cars that are taking a left. In this case, it's the lanes do not line up with one another on Dedham Avenue. The two left turn lanes, they would have to be adjusted so that, they could make the left turn. And there isn't enough width at that intersection for cars to be able to bypass the way that it's set up now.
Okay, and I actually think that's why the accidents are happening, because people do try to bypass, is what I think is unfortunately happening. They're not waiting around for that car to go left. I think it's a piece of it. I think it's a complicated intersection, as you said, from the geometry.
I agree with you that is the case. People are traveling through the intersection without being able to see, and that just, you're not supposed to be doing that. If you can't see, you shouldn't just barrel through. You've got to creep, and I think people are not patient enough for it.
Yeah, I've advised my teenage driver that that's what he needs to do, but unfortunately I worry about the people that aren't doing that, and he's sitting there at the intersection and kind of a deer in the headlights with people barreling through. So
And that's a 40-mile-an-hour speed zone too.
Right,
I think, is that
right.
And you may have noticed that the traffic signal heading out of town, the traffic signal on the right side, that's on the Charles River side, that one that's at the corner, that's the one that keeps getting hit. People try to go around, and they find there's somebody, trying to basically go through the intersection, and they end up having to swerve to the right, and they take out that traffic signal.
And we don't and is it, I don't even know if it's an advisory, like dangerous intersection, yellow sign or something, something that could be at least put, are they effective?
To oncoming
Or
traffic
just
or
some sort
something?
of, or some sort of signage. Yeah, left, as you're basically reiterating the law. But nonetheless, it's a reminder. What is the town's appetite for some sort of, temporary warning signage or something like that, as long as it's allowed?
Well, we
Alerting.
cannot use the word dangerous intersection because that actually has conditions tied to it.
Okay.
But we could put up like a signal ahead thing. I don't know that it would do any good though, because the signals are very visible. You can tell you're coming up to a signal.
I would argue coming into town from Dedham around that curve. I do know that there was a police detail. I think it was the South Street construction, and I know that I was coming in. You come off at 40 miles an hour, and you come around that corner, and there was an officer that was, or a traffic traffic. It wasn't an officer, but it was a traffic. Can't think of the word, traffic guard, that was right there in the middle of the road, obviously trying you come right around at 40 miles an hour, and it's very surprising, and I actually stopped at the police station and said, you should probably have some police officer ahead temporary signage on that corner, because you do come around that corner. It's not obviously what the Ms. Schaefer's talking about coming south out of town, but this is when you come north, around that corner, there is, I've noticed that you're coming around at 40 miles an hour, and that suddenly that light is there.
We could do something like that if the TMAC recommended.
See, I just want to be clear, is the reason that visibility is hard as you're heading out of town, because if there's a car that is legitimately in the left turn only lane, in the oncoming left turn only lane, then you can't see through traffic coming up behind it? Is that
That's the main issue, yes, I think.
so if there were something hanging next to that traffic light that said, yield to oncoming traffic,
I think it might, remind some drivers, but I think some of it is purely people just edging out and they can't see, and they don't wait till the end of the light, or they're worried about waiting till the end of the light. I think it's the intersection itself. I mean, that might help, but I think the signaling and the lanes really need to be addressed.
And I think that they are going to be, and I think that's what we heard from Tony, and we're trying to think of something at least in the meantime.
interim?
Sure.
Because it could be a matter of two. If it's not on the plan for next year, as I think he was saying, maybe year 2 or 3. And obviously that's if it's just something in the meantime. That's what trying to figure out something that would
Can I also
perhaps
ask,
remind people.
is there a way to find out when it is definitively on the agenda for, or at least scheduled for? I know you said maybe years 2 or 3, but is there a way to find out where it is in the queue?
Yeah, because the CIP has already been put together. We just got the books this week. It is on the list. It's and I don't think it's year 2. I think year 1 is West Street and Highland. Year 2, I'm not sure. It could be Gould and Central. So I do think this one is year 3.
As a reminder, we've had a delay in funding. So when we're talking year 1, I think everything which is typically this coming construction season is on the capital side is moved back 1 year.
So can we go back to signage options in the meantime?
Yep.
So that's a long time out. You're talking about a kid who's a driver now, who's going to be graduated from college by then. Just for perspective.
Sure.
So I think the question is, what's the, that's a long time out. And it's a crazy intersection. Other options?
So I guess I will move to add a sign from, adjacent to the overhanging traffic light that says left turn, yield to oncoming traffic, or whatever the proper wording is.
Yeah, I second that motion. I also don't know. I guess my question is how there's construction going on at that intersection right now too, right?
Right.
Off and on, yeah.
Yeah, it's been I think the how do you avoid the people kind of going around, and so the left turn yield is good. how do you deal with the, is it possible? I mean, Lieutenant McGrath, I don't know what your perspective is from a policing standpoint. Are there options there during peak hours?
Unfortunately, it's a matter of volume and poor driving habits. You have an influx of people coming off the highway, making the left to utilize South Street to go to South Natick and the like. And I understand the petitioner's complete issue. People want to make the left, and unfortunately, what people are supposed to do is you're supposed to drive past each other and turn. Nobody ever does that. They cut in front of each other. So where going out of town, making that left on the South Street towards Livingston is, unfortunately, the best advice is that people are just going to need to wait till that light completely changes red until it can intersect. And even in terms of enforcement, there's not much, because people aren't really, it's not a violation issue. And in fact, it's probably more likely people being impatient making that left or cutting off cars that are going straight. So they'd actually get the ticket, not the other. So I understand the frustration. I completely agree with it, but other than the signage, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
So we did, yeah, I was just wanted to say, we did have a motion. We can either,
Yeah, I can second, I'm happy to second that motion because I think it's a good place to start.
so Seth, do you want to just for the minute? So Daphne, did you get that motion, or do you want to have Seth repeat?
Yeah, I mean, you motioned to put a hanging sign, yield to oncoming traffic, correct?
Or
Left-
whatever the
left-
technical wording is, yes.
Left turn must yield.
Left
Okay,
turn, okay, that's fine.
that's
Whatever
better.
the,
Left
yep.
turn must yield.
Can I ask one more question of the committee about just the way that that capital improvement budget works? And I don't know if anyone would have this answer, but not the budget, but the decision making. When they do those traffic studies, does anyone happen to know whether accidents that have happened at that intersection are taken into account for that kind of thing?
So I can answer that a little bit. Unfortunately, the statistical data isn't really. I ran the numbers from 2018 to November of 20, and reported to the police department. We've only had 3 accidents at that intersection.
Wow.
So the numbers don't fit kind of the scenario there, and a lot of that can be it was minor fender benders. People exchanged information and went on their way. But the data just shows three accidents in that 3-year time frame.
Yeah, I'm stunned by that because I've seen at least 6 myself. So
So I want to just go back to the motion, and then we can follow up and circle
Sure,
up and
thank
see if
you.
there's an additional motion. So Daphne, if you could go for the roll call, we do have a motion on the floor that was seconded by Ms. Tarantino.
Okay, Mr. Delgazo,
Aye.
Mr. Hoyland,
Aye.
Lieutenant McGrath,
Aye.
Mr. McCullen,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Tarantino,
Aye.
Ms. Mullen.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Great. I did want to get back to, so thank you for that. Is there anything else from the membership? Do we think that there's other signage that may or may not improve here? Because we know that we're looking into a potential couple years solution. Obviously, is there anything else from the committee? Okay. And Ms. Schaefer, to your point, did Lieutenant McGrath's explanation answer your question, or was it more of the capital improvement project life cycle? Or was it?
he answered my question, but I'm surprised by it because, like I said, I've seen myself, which is what caused me to come here. I've seen myself at least 5 or 6 accidents in the 3 years we've lived here. So again, maybe they were things that didn't rise to the occasion of someone calling the police. I don't know.
Sure.
But yeah, it sounds like, so I guess maybe the only thing Lieutenant McGrath didn't mention is would that kind of, if there was some kind of statistical significance to the amount of accidents that were there, would that have influenced the timing of the improvements for this intersection? Like, would that be part of the traffic study, I guess?
The crash data is part of the traffic, of the design of the intersection.
Okay, thank you.
That's taken into consideration on every intersection.
Okay,
All right. So at least we have something we were able to give, and we'll monitor, and obviously if there's additional signage or if we need to, if we're seeing, perhaps there could be something as you approach coming north, we could say, signal ahead or something like that, then we'll look at that, but it looks like signage right now, before it can be a capital project to do long-term improvements.
great, thank you.
All right, thank you. So the other item on the agenda for this evening, all canceled or withdrew. They may reschedule. I need to talk to Nikki about that. So unless anyone else has anything else, we can, it's 7:30 and we can adjourn for this month.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. We have to go through the roll call.
All right, Mr. Delgazo,
Aye.
Mr. Hoyland,
Aye.
Lieutenant McGrath,
Aye.
Mr. McCullen,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Tarantino,
I
Ms. Mullen.
Okay, yes, I guess so.
It was a lovely meeting. Thank you all.
Excellent.
was.
All right.
All right.
Have a great month, everyone.
You too.
Sure.
Bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.